I'm Trinity, and this is my channel, and welcome back to another cake decorating video. This is going to be a new series where I decorate a cake inspired by each month and your birthday. So if you're born in September, this is the birthday cake I would make you. This was actually my grandma's birthday cake because she was born in September, you see? So let's get into it. As always, we're going to start by stacking and crumb coating our cake. So I'm using a gluten-free double chocolate chip cake with chocolate buttercream. I actually dyed this a little darker brown, and then I'm just doing a thin layer in between layers. I'm not really doing a filling for this because it's such a rich chocolate flavor, which is what my grandmother requested. So I didn't want to do a filling because it's already so rich. But I'm stacking the second layer and then the top layer on top that always faces downward because it has the flat top. Then I always cover my seams to seal them all the way around before finishing my crumb coat with even more buttercream. And because it's chocolate on chocolate, there are a lot more crumbs than normal, and I left my cakes out of the freezer for like 10 minutes too long, so the crumbs were coming out. So I'm just sealing those all in, and then I'm going to set in the freezer for about 5 minutes so the crumb coat can set. I'm actually wanting this to be pretty thin, and once the crumb coat had set, it's time to go in with the top coat, still using that same offset spatula. And I know it doesn't look like there's a top coat, but I promise there is. It's just because this is such a dark color on camera, and I'm smoothing this out. So the crumb coat and top coat together are about a ½ inch thick, and I'm going to smooth that out again using an offset spatula. And then I'm going to go in with a hot bench scraper that I have run under warm water to scrape the sides. Now my buttercream actually was a little too room temp, so you see a lot of like air bubbles and gaps. Personally, I should have melted it down for like 10 seconds at most before using it, but that is okay because it worked out. But the problem when I use chocolate buttercream is you're going to notice every imperfection because of its color. So I'm scraping with the hot bench scraper and then wiping it clean and then reheating it again. That way it is nice and smooth. This isn't going to be perfect, but it is going to get the job done. Once that is set, I'm going to put it in the freezer for a couple more minutes and then clean the board using a wet paper towel. It's time to start our piping. So I actually am going to start by putting this saran wrap transfer on top of September that I wrote out. Now I cannot write on cakes for the life of me, but I did it this one time, and what better way to learn how to practice than writing on my grandma's cake? Like, what is she going to say really? While I put the first top of the transfer on top and let it set for a minute, I went around with my half circle cookie cutter to put the indentation of where my swoops and side piping is going to go. And then on top of this September, I went in with the darker color that matches the cake and wrote it out again to bring some dimension. Finally, it was time to actually start piping, so I'm using a 150 tip, which is like a ruffle tip, going on a top ruffle all the way around, and this is actually halfway off the edge. That's what you want, so you can see it when we pipe on top of it. And then about an inch from the side, I'm gonna go in with that same ruffle tip. I'm using a 10-inch cake board, so there's about 2 inches all the way around the cake for my 6-inch cake. On top of that, I'm gonna go in with a 6B tip, which is the tip I use for everything, in the darker chocolate color, and go all the way around the bottom and top of the cake. From there, I'm gonna go in with a 21 tip. This is a smaller shell than the shell we use for the top and bottom border, and I'm doing this back and forth rosette, so I'm going basically drawing an S back and forth all the way around. I used to not be able to do this because it would trick my mind in directions. I'd get like dizzy, but now I can do this really well. And then I'm going to repeat that with a smaller of our shell tips on the top, which is a 14 tip, and that's literally all the piping we're doing on the top and bottom. Now it's time to start on our sides, so I'm going in with that same ruffle tip from earlier and doing another ruffle. And this is the best way I can describe how to pipe like this is, you know how you fold bologna in half before you put it on a sandwich? That's basically what you're doing. You're folding it in half and going back over itself. I'm doing that all the way around and then leaving a small gap. I'm going to go in with the lighter brown color and do just an up and down zigzag motion in that medium shell we used earlier. And finally, to connect them all, I'm going to do a double shell all the way around and then go in with gold glitter. Gold and chocolate always go together. I think of like probably from Willy Wonka, the gold ticket in chocolate. That's probably where I get that from. But once I am happy with the amount of gold in there, I'm going to go in with these caramel color bows that I made. Now I wanted these nice and long, and it's better to cut longer bows because you can always cut off the ends. Now the cake, I had let it set in the freezer for 10 minutes while I was cleaning up my kitchen, so I couldn't just press the bows into the buttercream because it was now hardened. So I used a little bit more of the same buttercream I used to pipe on top to create like a glue mixture on the top and bottom, and then on the bottom of the bow I'm just crossing the ends before trimming them. And that's literally this cake. It is so cute and so simple, and of course my grandma loved it. And no matter what, even if it's not my best work, I will say it tasted amazing. Okay, you wouldn't even know it's gluten-free. And that is September's birthday cake. So if your birthday is in September, happy birthday to all the Virgos and September babies out there. Let me know if you'd like this cake for your own birthday cake if you were born in September. is the completed cake. I really love how it turned out. Now I accidentally switched the colors. I meant to do like the dark brown as light brown and the light as dark, but it's okay. I love how the bows add like that little bit of caramel color, and the glitter is everything. It ties up. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I am going to be doing this monthly, so come back for October's, my birthday month. All my socials are linked down below if you want to follow me. Oh, and the doggo picture today is going to be this picture of Karma, who is literally watching me do this right now. All right, love you, minute kisses, jumping stupid, and I'll see you next time. Bye.